Hello beautiful people, welcome back to another wonderful episode of I Love Drift Car Building. Today I am lowering the back of the rx7 to bore. So I've already cut giant holes. Cut the top off. We're going to extend it up because the coil levers is all the way at the bottom, can't go any lower, and I don't want to drop them any lower anyway and reduce the travel of the shock. I want to have max travel because there's only, like you can see there, it's like literally less than four fingers worth of travel. In the tins I do have some Cuscos which were base height adjustable, which means that the actual, I'll show you, shock tube. So these are not base height adjustable. As you can see, the threaded part is part of the bottom section, so the oil is in there. Whereas the Cusco ones, they actually thread into this aluminium bottom section, and then this actual steel mount part actually is threaded into the bottom of that as well. So you can adjust this up and down. You can adjust this bottom hat up and down on the actual shock body to get the height, but even that is all the way, that's as low as it'll go. I even cut some off the end of this thread so that it will go as far in there as possible. And yeah, they're the same length. So it's not low enough. It's not low enough. But the Cuscos do have slightly, I think the bump stops inside the tin there. Yeah, it is. So the bump stops at the top, the Cuscos. So they've got about the same amount of travel. So I don't want to drop the spring purchase height to lower the length, to reduce the travel in the shock, just to lower the car. That's much easier to cut the car up and weld bits of metal in. May have had 3 beers and just picked up a grinder and started doing things before I thought about it too much. But anyway, so I'm going to cut a strip, bend it around the top of the disc because that's the height, that's the diameter of this thing, and weld it all back in, and that will give me 60 mil. And then I'll actually be able to, if I want, I can always just go down 60 mil on this, because there's like 30 mil on this bottom piece, and then that's actually wound all the way in there, so I've got like 80 mil there that I can raise it up if I want. So better to go super low and then worry about that later. But I've got they did have these springs on, which were aftermarket. I got these Cuscos off a guy that used to circuit race. So he had super heavy spring rates. These springs are like fat as compared to, they're 8 kilos. They're 8 kilos off my BCs from MX5, and these things, they must be like 12s or something. They're like super stiff. They don't move at all. Even with these are 7s on the tins, and when I stood on the back of the car and jumped up and down on the bumper, the thing doesn't move. So we want to have a bit of squat in the back of the car, but so that I'll show you, because you want some weight transfer. If we got there's the road, this is your wheel. Let's say you have, your car is like on top of your wheel, so it's a weight at the top, right? This is the weight. So if the wheel accelerates forwards, right, the weight, the inertia is going to like make it stay where it is, that the wheel moves, right? So all the weight's going to transfer to the back of the car, right? So that's the rear wheel. So, and this will be a shock. So we want to run like, they're 8s. We'll probably want to run like 4s, maybe. I'm not sure. I want to get like a lighter, the rear hatch is like super heavy on this thing. I want to transfer that to like Lexan later on, maybe a carbon hatch. So reduce the weight. So I'm going to start off with 8 kilos first, and then I'll go softer and softer once I get the car driving well. But that's why I want to run softer ones on the back, and I'll run firmer ones on the front, maybe 10s or probably up to 14 maybe. So, because I want the front to be wide and stiff for stability. It's not optimal for grip and speed, but It makes the car easier to drive. That's what I found on the MX-5. So MX-5 I run 10s on the front and 6s on the back, and it's like super wide. You can see I've extended the lower control arms. Can you see? You can see. Let me get a light. Let me get a light. Yeah, so the FD's off the hoist because I was going to take it and get it painted, but restrictions and movements and stuff stopping me from doing things. So yeah, you can see I've extended the lower control arm by I think it was like 35 mil or 30 mil on the MX-5. So that obviously the purchase point moves further out, but I run 10s on there on the front, and so it's quite wide on the front compared to factory, obviously. Therefore, it's really stable on the front, it's stiff. And I always run like semis on the front. I don't really run a balanced tire. A lot of guys like to run like street tires on the front, street tires on the back, so they can slide the front if they want. I prefer to set it up pretty stable with more lock, so that I fix mistakes with more lock, and that way the car can stop because I've got a good grip on the front if I need to stop. It also turns in. I don't ever have understeering issues where I go to quickly turn in if I make a mistake or reinitiate. The grippy tires just grab and just chucks the back out straight away. There's no sort of push understeer or dodginess going on. But this car does need some love. It's gotten worse and worse and slower over the years. This rear knuckle is actually twisted, and I think it points out, and that one points in, and the camber is actually like positive on this side, negative on that side, so it's pretty junk. But I just keep driving it because it just keeps going. It is leaking oil. I do need to change the front and rear main seals, I think, on this thing, so it's an unpleasant job, and I've made it more unpleasant by leaving it for so long. Yeah, anyway, gonna cut weld steel in the rx7 because I need to make it rollable so I can take it to the paint shop this week and get the engine bay painted. Stay tuned. Alrighty, but that was harder than I thought it was going to be. But anyway, did it. Managed to bend up. I used 3mm, so it's, well, the material on the top hat is like 2.5 or slightly thicker. So yeah, I just tacked it on the disc once I paddle beated it around, getting the ends to curve around. Obviously bending the main part was pretty easy, just grab it, bend around, but then when I wanted to bend the last bit and get it to meet up, it was a bit harder than I thought it was going to be. Anyway, and clamps and things going on. But anyway, yeah, that's one. Bend up another one, and then glaze. It's nice and thick, the material, so I can put a mad bead on the inside and the outside. So I'll tack it on the top, pull it off, weld it all the way around the inside, underneath, and then weld it onto the car. So I'll do it? Yeah, that's what I'll do it. Gonna have to weld from underneath. Ugh. What a pain. Yeah. I'm just thinking which way is easier. Weld this to that, and then this to this, or weld this to this, and then that onto there. I think I'll weld the hat on to the top of this. That way I can get to both sides of it, do really good welds, because I can always put some little straps down the outside of this if I'm worried about it tearing off or anything. But I'm not. Anyway, let's do another one. Jolly good times. I actually time-lapse this one so you can see how much of a stuff hand it is. It's not a quick process, so I can't really just film it, otherwise it'll go flat, the battery and stuff, but you get the idea. All the way vacuum cleaner. Can't see what's going on. Oh, let's do this. Alright, hold on, we'll time lapse. birthday, everybody, birthday, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh. Ugh, we gotta get underneath. Oh. You won't be able to see that. Anyway. Oops, other way. Other way, gimbal. Yeah, welded things. There we go. All the way around. Ugh. Inside. Hard to see. Hard to see. But it's tough. Ugh. Alright. I gotta weld the other one in on the top and then get underneath and weld around the inside. Probably don't have to because it got pretty good penetration. It was really cranked the heat into it. But That'd be sweet. Anyway, show you what I'm done. Alrighty. So it's all welded. I painted the inside underneath and welded around the inside underneath. They're all going sweet. Nice and thick, so I've got some sweet welds on there, continuous, and stitch the back and the brace on. Well, the brace is not at the top of my towels anymore. It's irritating, isn't it? But too bad, I'm not moving that. Sieves. It's a pretty small space. It's almost only 1.5 hands high to the main hoop, top of the main hoop. So there's not a lot of flexing going on there anyways, but it's all tied in. So yeah, the 55mm I went up. So when I had with the wheel on, I haven't got the wheel on yet, but I actually had between the top of the very top of the metal and the guard, the inner guard, and the tire was slightly more than my full hand. And on Cat Still 80, it's 3 fingers between the tire and the steel. So that was too much on the rx7. I think the Still 80 never bottoms out, so well, it must come really close, but it doesn't. So I was like, I'm not going to have full hand. That's way too much. I just want this thing to be on its guts, slammed on the ground. Super low, looks super cool. We want to look cool because it's FD. FD is sick. So yeah, that's. I've only got one more thing. I've got a AccuSump to mount in the car. Bum, 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 bum. Jump, 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 jump. You can't see because it's too dark. Oh my god. Somebody should turn the lights on. Anyway. I'll bring it out so we can see. So we can have a look. Let's have a look. Poor man's dry sump. That's what we got here. So this thing, you half fill it with air, then you connect it up to your oil system, and it basically has a piston inside. So you pump air in this side, 10 psi, and pushes the piston all the way down. Then you connect this up to your oil relocation kit for your oil cooler, and basically you open the valve after you start the car, and the oil pumps into here, starts to push the piston up until it reaches pressure, and then it fills up, and it's kind of just stays there while the engine's running. And if the oil pressure in the engine ever drops, the air pressure forces the piston and the oil back into your engine to make up for the drop in oil pressure. And then once you go around the corner and your oil pressure starts to build back up, it ends up filling the tank back up. That's how that works, basically. That's all it is. Not much, but it's just enough. And I have to mount this because I got the manual valve on there. Got this off Scott. Thanks, Scott. Bargain. Scott, I'm sorry. And where am I going to put this thing? I need to be able to reach it while I'm strapped into my harness. So I just need to make a bracket for it. I've seen people have them like there. You just reach back between the seat, so you can open and shut the valve. So I need to make some sort of bracket. Weld in some saddles here, like I made for the ECU and the handbrake. Weld in some boxing, and that'll be nice and solid because it's going to be like some ridiculous imperial measurement. It's like a 3 quart, so I guess it holds like 2 litres or 2.5 litres of oil, depending on how much air pressure you put into it. You can put more air pressure into it than 10 psi, so it forces the oil back in quicker, but obviously then it will hold less oil. So if you did have a catastrophic engine failure and you didn't realise until like 3 corners later, it probably wouldn't save your bottom end, or your crank anyway. Your bearings will be gone, but it might save you from having to buy a new crank. But so yeah, I just need to be access this, weld some brackets in for that thing, and then I'm pretty sure that's it. We're done in here. It's going to paint the inside of the car myself though, so I'll be able to touch it up if I do need to weld anything else in. Here, just start picking up beers and just randomly cutting things on my car. I was like, might lower the car more than that. I'll just cut the towers off. Ah well, in lockdown, nothing else better to do than spend hours welding on strut house. Looks pretty sweet. So yeah, there you go. Thanks for watching. You'll see it on its guts soon enough. This week it's going for engine bay paint. Then the driveline can go back in. Then I'm going to get it wrapped. A friend of mine's going to help me wrap it. And yeah, I'll paint the inside and start wiring. So hopefully not too long before I can get it tuned. Anyway, thanks for watching, and see you on the next one. Bye.